But the question is the bill been agreed to in principle. I call the member for Coogee.
Thank you, Madam Temporary Speaker. I rise to speak in support of the Government's Gaming Machine Tax Amendment Bill 2011 and in support of my local clubs who continue to play such an important role in my community. Last night, Madam Temporary Speaker, I had the pleasure of attending the cheque presentation evening of the Randwick Community Development Support Expenditure Scheme, or the CDSE. 49 local organisations, many run by dedicated volunteers, providing invaluable services to our community, were granted a total of $338,000. Organisations to benefit last night included the Bondi Community Street Project, Eastern Suburbs Aftercare, the Prince of Wales Hospital Foundation's Early Psychosis Program, the Ted Noffs Foundation, Randwick Waverley Community Transport, the Shack Youth Services, War Widows Guild of Australia and many others. I want to commend the work of the Randwick CDSE Executive Committee, Tom Simons and Peter Reid from the Maroubra Seals, Barry Collier from Coogee Diggers, Brendan Hallville and Keith McGaw from South Sydney Junior Rugby Leagues Club, who for years have put in the difficult work to meet the requests for funding, and Susanna Suzik from Randwick Council, who convenes the committee. Madam Speaker, over the past 12 years, our local clubs have contributed over $4 million to Randwick local government area communities through this scheme alone, not to mention the incalculable benefits our clubs provide to our localities through in-kind support and other community-focused initiatives. Clubs right across our state are struggling under the dark cloud of the looming threat of pre-commitment legislation of the Gillard Greens coalition government. Last night, the chairman of the Randwick CDSE predicted that the pre-commitment will deplete the funds to be distributed next year by over $100,000. As a local councillor, I know firsthand how much our clubs benefit our community. Were it not for the clubs, many programs, activities and facilities would not be available to our residents. Our club's capacity to provide these services continues to decline, and it will be local government who is turned to make up for the shortfall. Any councillor will tell you, Madam Speaker, that filling the gap would be immensely difficult for most local councils. The difficulties so many clubs face are clearly illustrated by the fact that the venue for last night's Randwick CDSE presentation evening was at Juniors at the Junction, formerly the Maroubra RSL Club, which had to be rescued by South Sydney Junior Rugby League Club from insolvency, not through the fault of its directors, but by the increasingly difficult environment that the club has been forced to operate under. South Juniors, the parent club, is a popular venue for so many of my constituents, although it is just across the border from my electorate. But Souths too are feeling the pinch. They recently hosted the first Save Our Clubs rally to protest the introduction of pre-commitment technology. To the despair of so many that attended, their pleas to their local member, Peter Garrett, fell on deaf ears. Once again, the Labor Party yet again is abandoning our clubs. These amendments, Madam Speaker, are welcome news for our clubs and our communities. Yet again, this government is making good on an election commitment to reduce the gaming machine tax rates payable and increase the tax rate rebate available to registered clubs from 1.5 to 1.85%. I was pleased to be in attendance in October last year when the then New South Wales opposition, represented by the member for Goulburn, signed the Memorandum of Understanding called Strong Clubs, Stronger Communities with the East Leagues Club in Bondi Junction. The introduction of Category 3 to the club's grant scheme will ensure larger infrastructure projects receive funding from club revenue. These amendments will add an extra $90 million to flow into much-valued community services and projects in our suburbs, cities and towns. As the Minister, the great Minister and a former old boy of Randwick Boys High School, fellow Randwick Boys High School old boy, has said, it is the clubs who are best placed to make the decisions as to where the greatest needs exist and how this money should be spent. And the new clubs grant scheme more accurately reflects the origins of the funds. Last night, Madam Speaker, I gave my commitment to my local clubs that I was in their corner, that I'll continue to fight to ensure that their operations remain sustainable so they can continue to provide those services, those amenities and activities, as well as that sense of community and camaraderie that we have all come to expect so much over the years from our clubs. This bill deserves the support of all members, Madam Speaker, and I commend it to the House.